Welcome, Joyce. Thank you so much for doing this interview. I'm just going to ask you some questions. I just want to know what your experience has been from doing the 90-day passion protocol. So welcome.
Thank you very much.
Pardon me. Gosh.
Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks. So what I really want to know and I want to share with the audience is, where were you in your relationships before you came into this program? Like, what was it that fueled the need to be part of this program?
I was at a standstill. I had big trust issues. I was closed in. I was probably very angry, but at that time I just felt blah. And I know I needed something. And when I was reading your, I guess, postings on Facebook about passion and protocol and stuff like that, I thought, wow, you know what? I think this lady could help me. And then I contacted you, and it's been the best thing since.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yes, I know. Just doing this with you has been a pleasure. So tell me about your history, your marriage, and your background. You're married for a while, and
I was raised in a very. I was raised by my grandparents when I was like a baby until a certain age, and then I went home. And I didn't feel that I belonged there because it was always, it was tormentive. It was argumentative. It was, my father and mother did not get along. There was a lot of abuse and, yeah, a lot of drinking, and yeah, it wasn't a good place to be raised.
Yeah,
and
we really discovered that during the course of during the process of the course. We really dug deep into the history of the relationships that you came into your marriage with. Can you just tell me how long you were married for?
I was married in 1980, but I had been with the gentleman for 40 years.
Okay.
And so I believe it was our 38th anniversary when I decided that I couldn't, well, it was not on the anniversary per se, but it was the 38th year that we were married, and I couldn't, I was hanging on by my fingertips for so many years, and I couldn't hang on anymore. My health was suffering. My mental health was suffering. My physical health was suffering. And I knew that if I stayed, I don't think I would have survived it.
And how long were you single since your divorce?
5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, 5 years.
Yeah.
I did everything from digging deep, trying to find why I allowed the same thing to happen to me as my mother. And I know it's a learned behavior, but I, as a teenager, said I would never allow that to happen to me, but yet it did. And I wanted to know why, because I don't want to ever be in that situation again. I don't ever want to be taken advantage of. I'm never going to be abused. I know that for a fact. Soon as there's any kind of red flag, I'm adios, bye.
Yeah. And now, you know, as you mentioned, you basically repeated your parents, even though you had the knowledge and you said to yourself, I wasn't going to repeat it, right? We discovered the programming behind that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And did you feel that even though you knew and you were even doing stuff prior to coming into this program, was there, like, did you feel that you just couldn't do it on your own? Tell me about that.
I knew I needed help from somebody, because I've been going through many counselors and many therapeutic Um, and then the Western medicines weren't helping because, oh, well, it's in your head. Oh, well, okay. Um, you know, like, is it really that bad and stuff like that? Because whoever met the ex, he was such a nice guy. He was, you know, like he was totally different. He was Jekyll and Hyde. And I would get a look, or I would get a kick underneath the table or something to make me jump back into line. And for many years, I couldn't even look another male in the eye, let alone a woman. I was always down like this. I would try not to bring attention to myself, because when I did, then I was asking for it, or I was looking for attention, or what have you. So it was tough to go through that.
And so during the separation, the 5 years after, not the separation, but after you divorced, did you date anybody else?
Um, no. There was, um, I guess, what they call now booty calls, but that was it. But there was no, and even that made me feel really bad. But I needed to find out that if I was still attracted to the male species, so to speak. But again, now when I look back at it, they were all like the first one.
Yeah.
So there was so much there that I learned to stay away from, and just, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So when you discovered the course, what were your goals coming into it? What did you really want to achieve before starting this course?
I wanted to be quote unquote normal. I wanted to be, I know everybody comes with baggage. I totally get that. And there's a lot of rough lives out there for everybody. But I wanted to, the only thing that I ever wanted in my marriage was to be a partnership. I wanted to be one with my husband. I wanted, like we did travel, and some of my life was very wonderful. But I always came home to the other shoe dropping, or we always came back to the other shoe dropping, and I never knew when it was going to drop. So therefore, I was walking on eggshells all the time. So I wanted to be not fairy tale, because I don't believe in fairy tale, but I wanted to have a partnership. I wanted somebody to have my back. I wanted to feel secure. I wanted to feel safe. I wanted to feel, what is the word? Secure in our future. Like, I didn't want to look 20 years down the line. No, I just wanted to know what was going to happen at the end of the week. You know, not know what was going to happen, but I wanted it to be more joined, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that I remember you saying to me at the beginning was, actually, it was our first talk, and you said, I don't even know how to do this anymore. Like, how do you do this? How do I find somebody?
Yeah,
You,
I was totally floored, because I thought, okay, like when you're younger, you hang out with your friends and you meet somebody through your friends and stuff like that. Well, that doesn't happen anymore, because at my age too, everybody's in a relationship, everybody's married, or they've got a partner or whatever. And there's really no tag-alongs. Like when you were in high school and stuff like that, there was always a group of you there, and then a new person would come in, a new guy or a new girl or whatever, and stuff like that. But it doesn't happen when you're older. It's very tough to meet somebody. I was getting ready just before I met you. I was making a profile for a dating site, because I had talked myself finally into it. And then when I met you, delete, delete, delete. I don't need that. And that's another thing. It was a big trust issue on, oh my God, I'm going to get a stalker or something, right? And then I hear all of these phishing stories about these men online. And I ended up talking to somebody I don't know how or why. And then I realized it was a fishing expedition because the spelling was wrong, and and the hesitation between the messages were getting too long. And then he must have or they must have texted me for the other person, and it just didn't make sense with the conversation. So I just delete.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so glad you did that.
Yes.
So now that you're here, we're at the end of it. So I just want to first ask you, going through the program, so it's been 3 months essentially,
Yes.
right? It's 12 weeks. What were your favorite parts of the program?
Actually speaking with you and getting the feedback, the feedback that I was on the right path, that I didn't necessarily need a gold star or anything, but to have that secure thought that, yes, okay, Joyce, you are, you're putting in the work and you're doing it. And sometimes I would fall back, and don't get me wrong, it is hard work because you've got to dig deep. And I think a lot of my problem is the shame that was wrapped up into it, because it was hard to spit it out. But once you do, it's like a big weight lifted off my chest.
Yeah.
And I hope for other people it would be the same.
Do you, did it take long for you to trust me?
No.
It's a loaded question, right?
Yes.
Trust. I want to talk about this because trust is a really big issue, because we're coming into this program with a lot of like betrayal and loss, and not knowing who to trust anymore. And so I really want to hash that out with you. Like, how long did it take for you to trust me?
We had an incident at the beginning, and I told you that I was coming into it with a lot of big trust issues, and then you rectified that for me. So I went, okay. And then, but when I first tried, I thought, oh God, I got myself into a scam. Oh no. And then I started beating myself up about that. And then when you did rectify it, then it was like, oh my God, because I felt in my gut that I felt in my gut the first time I talked to you that you were going to be able to help me. And it was funny because I was learning to trust my intuition again. And it was so foreign to me, and that I'm tearing up, but when you rectified it, it made me blossom, so to speak.
That's wonderful.
Sorry.
Wonderful. It's okay. It's okay. That's really perfectly okay. It is a big transition for all of us when we go through this, and I appreciate that you're being so open, because it's going to help so many people. And I just want to acknowledge you for that and for your work. So tell me, so here we are at the end, what has been the result of all of your hard work?
I've met a gentleman and we've clicked, and it's quite wonderful. I'm able to communicate with him. I made a faux pas once, and I talked to you and you straightened me out. And I'm very thankful for that. And I apologized to my gentleman friend and told him that I should have never have posed it that way. And I explained from how you explained to me what I was doing. I was making him responsible for my emotions, and it wasn't fair to him, and it wasn't fair to me. And so when I told him about it, he said, you know what, all is good, because now it's out.
Yeah.
And now, and and for everybody that's listening, it was about fibbing. It was about the little white lies that we all do, and we all do it. And I didn't want to come across that problem with this relationship because it would, I'm at the time I was thinking it was going to destroy me, but now I'm too strong for that. It wouldn't destroy me, but it would put me back the 10 spaces that I gained on my 30. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want that to happen. So I was trying to give him a kind of a heads up. And he said, no, once I talked to you and you said, no, Joyce, you're making him responsible. So then when I went to him and communicated to him what I was doing, he said, all good. He says, because now I know. He says, now I know that I need to be 100%, not 99, but 100% truthful with you.
Wonderful. That's beautiful. And have you noticed a difference in the way you communicate?
Yes, because we can talk about everything and anything.
And you couldn't before, right?
No, my feelings like, oh, she's, well, the old saying when people used to say, oh, what are you, it's your time of the month, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And it's not that, so.
Yeah. No. That's just so incredible. So overall, can you give me just a little synopsis of how different it was from your first relationship? Like, give me the 180 degree, 360, like how like compare your programming and your relationship with your ex to the way your relationship is now with your new partner.
I am open. I'm more confident. I can, it doesn't matter. I'll think about what I'm going to say. So, because sometimes I was harsh in my delivery. Mm-hmm. So I will try to, I was more standing in my masculine than my feminine. And now I'm more feminine. I'm softer. I'm fluid. I'm like a butterfly.
I love it. Rather than the warrior and the heart armor, right?
Yes, and the chainmail and the the helmet with just the splits, you know. And I feel it. I feel more feminine. I feel more girly. I feel more I'm the butterfly. I changed from the cocoon and the caterpillar, that ugly little caterpillar. Some of them are cute, but most of them.
And how does your new partner treat you in comparison?
Wonderful. Wonderful. I've never had forehead kisses or head kisses. I've never, he hugs me and he hugs me tight. It's like that saying or a meme, you're going to find somebody that's going to hug you so tight all your broken pieces stick back together. And that's how I feel. He makes me feel, we haven't said the L word yet, but we use I like you lots.
Because it's really fresh, right?
Yeah, it's very fresh because I met you in September and I met him in September, and it's progressed really well. And so, yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's beautiful. And you didn't have to go on any online dating site.
No, I didn't have to go to a group of people and say, hook me up or anything like this. I met him on a job site and he asked me if I wanted his number. And I got out of my vehicle and thought, you know what? If you keep doing what you're doing, you're always going to get what you got. And that went through my mind and I went, you know what? Yeah, I'll take your number. And it took me 2 days to call him, but and then it was instantaneously, actually. We both felt when we shook hands, we both felt, you know, like, wow, this is different. and just explored it some more and stayed in contact. And yeah, so here we are.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I love that story. It's just amazing. So, do you feel that going through this program helped you achieve this new, it's like a, we talked about it the other day, right? It's your new soul love, really,
Yes,
right?
yes,
Do you feel
yes,
that?
I do. And I do credit this course for helping me, because I finally, like I said, our talks, I was finally, even though that I was trying to follow your guidelines to the perfect letter, and I realized that was too harsh for me. So then I needed to back off a little bit, and you kept me grounded by saying, it's okay, it's okay. Like, uh, this is what's happening next week. So, but if you're still over here, that's okay, And so then the panic for the rush dropped away from it. So it was easier to go through the course on my terms,
Yeah.
which I found really well, because when I first met you, I was so scattered, and the the thoughts that were going through my head, oh my God, okay, how do I do this? How do I get this done? And then I got to talk to her, and then I've got to set up this time. And then you were so wonderful by allowing me to do a Sunday call, which, because I work 6 days a week, I'm cutting into your family time. And I was feeling really guilty about that. And then you said, no, Joyce, I want you to get the most out of this. And so that again gave me the courage to keep going and to keep digging in, and because you were so accommodating for me. So I appreciate that very much.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for that. So if you're going to tell the ladies who are listening in the group that you're part of, anything about this course, what would you want to share with them?
Do it, ladies, do it, because again, that saying, if you keep doing what you were doing, you're going to get what you got. And now what I got, y'all can get it. Put in the work, do it. Do not let shame, do not let fear, anger, and any of that get in your way, because we as women need to stay together and help each other. And if I can be a part of that, I'm going to pat myself on the back, because I'm hoping to help somebody, because I was in a real dark spot for a long time. That 5 years was the toughest 5 years I've ever had.
Yeah.
And so
Thank you. I know that all the women listening today are going to really appreciate your full story and your vulnerability. Thank you for sharing all of the personal stuff that you went through. It really helps, because I think we go through this period thinking that nobody would understand us. Nobody, like the shame just takes over, and we feel that we don't want to share this stuff, because we have this idea that we're not perfect enough, we made mistakes, we're wrong, and that's not at all what's going on. It's a learning process, and just like anything, like you need teachers for things and you need guides for things. There are parts in our lives when we just can't do this alone.
exactly.
Right.
And to finally find somebody to trust is the biggest thing, I think, because us with trust issues, that is one of the bigger things. Like it might not be anything else, but that trust is so important. And like it is, I can't think of the word. It is, to me, the most important is I can trust again. And I was so scared that I wasn't going to be able to. And I didn't want to go through the rest of my life with all that armor on, because not only is it heavy, it's not very fashionable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And I just want to thank you so much, Joyce, for doing this little interview with me and for sharing your story. And I know you're going to just continue on your path of connecting and having this beautiful relationship that you started, because you have all the tools now. And honestly, it's been such a pleasure working with you.
Well, thank you very much, Diana. I hope to see you soon.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.